Hey and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We are back again for another episode of Snowfall, Season 5, Episode 3, Lion. As the episode opens, Franklin is meeting with everyone to tell them Teddy is back. Louis asked him if he said why. Said Grady was reckless and wasteful and putting us all in jeopardy. She asked if he believes him, and he's like, he can't say Grady ran the tightest ship. And old girl that was sleeping with Grady asked, what did he say? Franklin tells her that the house is empty. He isn't answering his pages. Unc asks if he thinks that Reed killed him. Teddy, huh? He said to call him Teddy from here on out. So the conversation continues, and Franklin tells him, listen, if the CIA shows up and tell you it's over and you got to move on, then that's exactly what you do. He can't think of why Teddy would have had to kill Grady. Leon says he saw that they were like Bert and Ernie and wanted to send a message they knew he'd hear. You mean in addition to disappearing his father, Louis says? That come up in your little chat? I'm so glad that they addressed this because I was worried that they wouldn't. So does Franklin know Alton is among the missing? Really, I thought he was dead until this episode. Now, maybe not. Whatever happened to Alton, he did it to himself. Whoever the CIA sends, they got to do business with them. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Louis is still looking for that price cut, but we know Teddy said he's not going to honor Grady's word. She made promises, but Franklin says she's going to have to break them. Louis wants to talk to Teddy. They did business for months while Franklin was laid up. But Franklin kind of laughs and he's like, nah, he'll talk to him. He says he'll let them know more when he does. So Louis and Unc, they're meeting with someone named Mello. Dude rolls up in the hood in his flashy car, and I was feeling his little swag, but just wait. So Louis tells him she couldn't get the price cut. It's not a call she can make. For that, she apologizes. Then they pull the guns out. Unc tells them to chill. Mello says he's not in charge, and just like her, it's not a call that he can make. He got to tell the man in charge that things aren't as they said. His homeboy's like, nah, let them tell him. His boss is none other than Scully. Mello says he has good days and real bad days. You got time? I pray for a good one. So Franklin is at the office on a call when V comes in. She has the paperwork for the bid. Less than 48 hours to submit. He tells her he needs to put Grady's house on the market. V laughs. She says she's not surprised. He's got that Rolling Stone written all over him. He tells her Grady left town. He's out and Teddy's back in. So the two talk about it because Franklin never thought he was going to come back, and yet here he is. So V asks him if he asked about his dad. Franklin says he caught him off guard. She's like, listen, I'm not a mind reader, so you need to tell me how you're feeling. He's like, he doesn't know. As long as he's making money, they're all good. And that's all he's got for now. So at the club, Louis gets a page. She calls back and we see Scully. Mello says, I guess you didn't pray for a good day. How bad? Tiana's birthday tomorrow bad. He wants to see them now. So Unc and Louis, they head down to the hood to see Scully. He has 3 dudes outside, naked, holding signs, blindfolded. Inside, Scully takes a samurai sword and cuts dude's ear off right in front of Louis and Unc. Calm down. Shut up. Get your ass up. Get that blood off my floor. He tells his crew to get this ninja out of here and make sure he doesn't bleed all over my baby's balloons. Ciao. So Scully asks Louis and Unc what happened to honor. Our business is our honor, our loyalty, Louis says. Lying to me ain't no MFing loyalty. Louis says they didn't lie. They were told one thing and then another. It's out of our hand. 10 a key. That's what you said. And that's what it's going to be. Jerome says they can't do that. Scully says you can and you owe me. Louis says, okay, we'll do it. So when they leave, Scully starts talking about possums. Do what you say and say what you mean, or you can't be trusted, was the bottom line of what he was saying when he was talking about the possums. So outside, Unc is like, he's coming apart. They're in business with a madman and they're not even making money doing it. So they try to figure out the plan of attack. It won't be long with the way he's going. So do they wait it out, let him implode, and wait for the next man to rise? Louis noticed Mello is itching for that top spot. They're going to use that. So Teddy is in his old office and things are just as he left them, lines and all. He throws the drugs out and a photo on a desk in the box. Next thing you know, we see Thelma and Louise, and they're dropping the kids off at school when they spot Louie and Unc. And I forgot to mention that these two are the same stripper shooters that hit Louie last season, and now they work for Franklin. So Louie asks if they know Mello. Of course they do. So Jerome says he heard he hangs out where they used to dance. No used to. They not gambling on feeding the babies on dope money, so they're still dancing. Louie says they need someone to slide in his ear. One of them gets slick in the mouth, and she is lucky Unc ain't shoot him. So Louie says they can call it the past if they find somebody to help them out. Puff the magic dragon. They'll set it up. So as they go to leave, one apologizes for shooting Louie. I'm glad you did not make it. I mean, all of this in front of the babies. So Franklin meets up with Teddy at a cafe, and he notices that he stopped smoking. He caught Franklin off guard the other day. He wants to make sure he was clear on why that price cut is so important. Teddy understands why competitive pricing is important. He doesn't think the pricing is the issue here. In his absence, Franklin has made himself the middleman in his own organization. His prices are right at market level. The problem here is the prices Louie and Jerome are paying him. So Teddy basically says, don't ask him for a price cut ever again. Get your own house in order first. But why am I really here? Teddy asks. You really gonna make me ask? Franklin says. Teddy gonna lie and say he has no idea what happened to Alton. Now that I do not believe. Whatever happened to Alton, Teddy most definitely did that shit. So then he starts babbling about him going after the CIA. He pissed off a lot of people. So what are you saying? Franklin wants to know. The CIA are only part of the equation, Teddy says. Alton, a former Panther, would be a high-value target. Wouldn't they want to use him? Franklin asks. It starts that way, but if he resists, things could get out of hand. He could be in a Cuban jail right now. Then Teddy, he starts gaslighting. He knows how hard this can be. You spend all your time hating him, and then you form a relationship with him again, only to have him betray you. And then this? Teddy swears he had nothing to do with it. Franklin, he don't believe him. He tells him not to come to his house like that again or place of business or anywhere that he's not expecting him. Before he leaves, Teddy says he has something else to do, but Gustavo will meet him for the exchange. Gustavo checks in with Teddy and he tells him, you're going to make the drop with Franklin solo. So Mello is at the club and Puff the Magic Dragon, she makes her appearance and she's on her jobs. She starts asking questions and he says he doesn't work for anyone. She keeps going and he grabs her neck and asks her what she's doing there. But don't threaten her with a good time. Sis is not afraid. She gets the stacks and he wants her to get naked, but she can't. He throws money and she does. Backstage, she lets Thelma and Louise know he gave her an extra $2,000 just to get naked. Definitely feeling himself. So Franklin has a bunch of money that he hasn't moved yet. He's overdue a Panama run. So Peaches is in there coughing and sniffling. And I didn't even mention his summer cold in the first episode, but folks are saying that Peaches might have HIV. That's the word on the curb. We're going to find out during the season probably. I mean, it is the 80s and I didn't think he was into guys. So now you think Peaches is using drugs? Let me know down in the comments. So Franklin tells him he could call it after they're done. He doesn't want to give whatever he got to V. Go home, get better, he'll be fine. So as he goes to leave, he puts his hand out to dap Franklin. Franklin was like, nah, ninja, I hollered. I know that's right, especially in these times. So Franklin pulls up to an abandoned area to meet Gustavo. He asks Gustavo how the family is and a little small talk. And Franklin asks, what's up with the drop spot? Is this your idea or Teddy? Not mine, Gustavo says. Franklin asks if he knew he was coming back. Gustavo shakes his head. What about Grady? Franklin doesn't mean to put him in a tough spot, but Grady had ties here, business and personal. And as Franklin is talking about him disappearing, not making any sense, he looks up, he's looking around, he gets a vibe and he changes his tone. F it, he says. At the end of the day, Grady was a clown, right? We see Teddy watching and listening. Only a matter of time before he turned this whole operation into a circus. I'm happy Teddy's back. Get back to doing business the right way. See you next week. Also, I mean, he was just like, he took it to the very next extreme just talking. So at Louie's club, Shell tells her Bo is there in her office. with a pot. Louie looking like, I know you effing lying. So she goes into her office and there is Bo with a pot cooking something. And I'm not sure how, because there's nothing to cook warm food with, anything in the office, but dude has a pot for sure. So these two, they have some type of history, and I hope that we'll get an answer to that sometime in the season. It's missing a few things, he says. Buckley, this is my office, she says. I really need you to respect that. He says, okay. What's missing, she asks. Bo starts carrying on about his daddy, and Jerome comes in and tells her thing 1 and thing 2 are there. He says what's up to Unc. Jerome is not feeling him. It's your world, ninja. So Louie says she'll have Shell come keep him company till she gets back. And he says he needs that red meat though. And ain't a little thing you're asking for, she tells him. Indeed, it is not. Finding someone to throw under the bus can't be easy. So she tells him she needs a little more time. Thelma and Louise, they're there with the update on Mello. They tell Unc and Louie he was making it rain in the club. Unc says he's ripe for the picking. Louie says, I appreciate ya. Back in the office, Unc is tight. Ladies say they're only loyal to the highest bidder. Louie says Franklin must be paying them well. She wants to know, how is he going to be more mad than she is? So Louie gets a page. The two of them, they meet up with Mello, and he tells them that after the next deal, Scully wants to take them out. Unc wants to know, why are you telling us this? Mello says he likes this. With Scully out the way, they can do 12 a key. So you're going to take the throne, Louie says. He says tomorrow, Scully goes to see a psychic to talk to Tiana for her birthday, alone. No one is feeling Scully, and no one will shed a tear over his death. Louie tells him, all right, then handle it and let us know when it's done. And you're ready to do business. He says that he needs them to handle it. Can't inherit the kingdom if he has ties to the king's death. Unc says, you set him up, we take the shot. Louie says, this requires a lot of trust and some cash for the heavy lifting. $50K. Done, he says. Should have said 100. 100 then, since you insist. He gives him the address that he'll be at the next day and tells them to reach out when they're done. The next day, Louie and Unc pull up to the psychic spot. What if she knows? Unc asked. I laughed. He had a point. Who knows what? Louie says. She's supposed to be psychic, right? And Louie's like, yeah. So she kind of laughs. The psychic opens the door and she starts speaking in Creole. And Louie, she starts speaking a little Creole herself. Louie says she needs some help with some people. Miss Lady says today is no good. And she goes to slam the door in her face. Come back tomorrow. And she'll get her straight. Louie pulls out a few stacks and says, today works best for me. And Miss Psychic Lady, she lets her in. So Franklin and Thelma, they show up to the abandoned spot where the drop was. Thelma is not feeling it. She wants to wait in the car. He tells her, come on, if you see something you don't like, shoot it. So they go inside the building and they're looking around. We see some footsteps and what looks like a Nicorette wrapper. Franklin can see his car from the window, so now he knows what Teddy was up to. So Scully arrives in his Sunday best to see the psychic. She's a little too welcome, and he's like, we good? Come and rest your heart inside. Scully walks in, and Louie and Jerome both pop out with the guns. I knew you MFers was possums. This isn't what I wanted. I'm really sorry, Louie says. Unc tells him Mello wanted a shot at running things. Came to them. Told them about his plans for them after the next drop. Afraid that don't work for us, Louie says. So they went and took us to a commercial break with both Louie and Unc pointing the straps at Scully. Then we get back and they're just having some snacks. Just chilling. And Mello comes in. It's handled, Louie says. Mello says he ain't heard nothing on the streets nor the scanners. Unc says this is not amateur hour. Mello says he needs more than words. So Louie goes into her blouse and she pulls out Scully's necklace with locket and throws it on the floor. Mello picks it up. Keys to the kingdom. It's going to take a few weeks to seize the throne. Gotta play the part. Pour out some liquor for the dead homie. So the doors slide open and it's Scully and his people. And I was kind of glad they didn't kill Scully. Now he's crazy as a bedbug, but we like him. He's been loyal and he has a code. So Scully's folks pull out the straps and Mello starts copping a plea. Now you know me. She came to me with the whole plan. Scully slaps the taste out of his mouth and then he gets him in a headlock, wrenched his spirit, and then he snaps his neck. Damn. R.I.P. Mello. Whole time, Unc and Louie just sitting there unbothered, just eating chips. I was like, they gangster. Pastor Psycho Scully, he starts the preaching, and then he tells them to take him to the White Room. He wants to test it out. It's a cold game. Pain had me doubt your loyalty. Why don't you take the shot? It's a cold game, but somehow they found warmth in the hospital, Louis says. Unc hands him the locket and says, we owe you honor. Scully lets Unc keep the locket. He lets them go back to the original price and keep the money. He don't want that juju shit on him. So we see a pregnant V popping bottles to celebrate, or popping a bottle to celebrate. She's excited, but Franklin, not so much. Who I gotta beat up? I'm a pregnant lawyer, pretty much unconvictable, and they both know she got hands. He says it's a lot of tension, a lot going on. He tells her he's not in the mood to meditate or cleanse, but she was talking about getting some sex to get them, you know. So Franklin asks for a rain check and tells her he appreciates her. Not a rain check on the okay. Wanda comes in fast talking, looking for a job. She could collect the rent or do handiwork, and she's just running down, you know, her resume of all the things that she's good at. Franklin says, okay. She tells him, thank you. Take your time, but not too much time. Now let's keep Wanda clean. Not in the drug stuff or dealing with the money. A nice little desk job will work. Please and thank you. So Franklin and Peaches meet up with Unc and Aunt Louie. He asks how it went in Inglewood. Settle everything without firing a shot, Louie says. She asks him if he spoke to Teddy. He says he's tired of talking about it. Unc's like, here we go. Louie says they have no idea what's going on in the streets, and you won't let me talk to him, so pardon me if I want to know what he said. Franklin tells her, you want to know what he said? Prices ain't changing, because the prices ain't the problem. The problem is y'all breaking away from me, going out on your own. Franklin says he gave them a chance, but this little experiment isn't working. He's happy to split the profits 50-50, but they need to get the operation under one roof. Louie says they ain't doing that. She doesn't want to put their lives at risk over his BS ass decisions. He thinks it's because she thinks she's smarter than everyone else. Unc says he's getting tired of it. Louie says this is between her and Franklin, so handle it then. Unc says Franklin says he knew breaking away wasn't Jerome's idea. He let it go because she's been shot, and Unc ain't like that. He tells him to watch his neck. Enlighten me on what the F she wants. Unc says, now, why don't you ask her yourself? What would you like, Queen Louie? Not being under anybody's thumb, nephew. Hate to break it to you, he says, but everybody's got to answer to somebody. I answer to the man who may have disappeared my father and who will do the same to us if we don't move this product. From here on out, I don't want to hear anything about kilos or prices. You want to go out on your own? Fine. But don't F around with what I got to do to get mine. Because I promise you that there is nothing that I'm not prepared to do. I mean, just hollering. Very Denzel in Training Day. Franklin was not with the shits. And then he walks away. And the way that Louie looked at him, now I don't think she'd throw Franklin under the bus with Bo, but she looked at him like, don't push her. And that is where we end. What were your thoughts on the episode? Please put them down below in the comments. I want to know what happened to Alton. I hope you'll come back and join me for my review of episode 4. Sorry that this one was so late. I had so much going on, and then we went to go see the Batman. Anywho, if you've made it this far, put that crystal ball emoji down in the comments for Miss Cleo this episode. While you're here, please check out some of my other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.